Do you have mold in your life? Did you know that every square inch of air on the planet at a certain level above the surface actually contains mold spores, even in the driest or the coldest of conditions? Unfortunately, that's the truth. And let me tell you why that potentially could be so bad. Is that mold for 24% of the world's population is their kryptonite. Hi, this is John Ruman, international business coach, consultant, and corporate trainer, helping you achieve the greatness which I know you are destined for. Most of us spend an awful lot of time in our lives trying to become healthier, more vibrant, sleep better, but there are certain things that we can do that really jumpstart us forward. And if you live in a moist environment, in an environment that doesn't have a lot of light, does not have a lot of airflow, you'll notice it will create mold over time. And mold, if you're unaware, even for those who it's not their kryptonite, can create, or has been shown to create, asthma in children and even adults. And I've known several people intimately who've been dramatically impacted by mold. So if you're in the Caribbean like I am, I'm in Trinidad, but I know lots of people all over the world. I've lived in lots of climates, and I've yet to live in a place, whether it be upstate New York, where I'm from Syracuse, Central New York. I lived in Denver, Colorado for a couple years, or Boulder, that area, Denver. I lived in all across the U.S., Wisconsin, Michigan, and every single place that I was old enough to remember, there was mold as an issue in the building. Why do I bring this up? And the reason I bring it up is mold is something that ideally you get away from, but the challenge is you can't always do so. So I'm going to help you to find ways to mitigate as much as possible and actually eliminate it as easily and as cost effective as possible. So let me tell you, first of all, why is it so dangerous? There's something mold has in it called mycotoxins or mycotoxins, one of the two. And what they do is they act as a terrible toxin for the body and really stress it out. And again, roughly 1 out of 4 persons on this planet are dramatically affected, where that literally makes them exhausted all day. They have to sleep much longer, and they don't know why they're so fatigued. That's a lot of the population. So that's 1 out of the 4 people you're friends with. So it's very, very powerful. So what is the simplest ways? Air ventilation. So making sure there's a constant air draft going through the room. If you're in an area that doesn't have air draft, you can do corner fans. You can have windows open as much as possible. And I understand in colder climates, it can be challenging. And that's why we're bringing this up. Light is an important factor. So light, breeze, and moisture. So the more light, the better. The more airflow, the better. And the drier, the better. The preferred environment for mold is cold or cool, dark, or semi-dark, shaded, and cool, dark, and damp. So those are the ultimate, but it will slowly, even in other areas, unless it has a good amount of light or whatever, slowly form. It's very common and prevalent. So let me give you some ways to mitigate and eliminate it. So one of the common ones that you'll hear about is taking bleach or diluted bleach and spraying it. And you can take one of the pesticide sprayer things that people may use for the garden for insecticide or things like that, or fertilizer. And you take it, it's a compressed canister, and you pump the top. And when you pump the top, it takes this diluted bleach and you spray it on there. The problem is bleach is really harmful for you to breathe in, even in the diluted state. So I would encourage you to find other methods that allow you to do this. And I'll tell you one. You take the white vinegar that you probably you may use in your salad dressing now, or you may use for other methods of more environmentally friendly cleaning. And you can spray it on the mold, the black mold. Let's say you have mold in the corner in a bedroom or something. You spray it in there. Here's the challenge. When you're spraying it, the mold will die in the moment. But when it does that, it has a natural response in death that it sets off two things: the toxins I talked about earlier, as well as fresh mold spores, and they literally get sprayed in the room. So if you're sensitive and you smell mold at all, when you spray it, you know it because you can smell it. The way to do this better, because that'll really impact you even if it's not your kryptonite, is to wear a mask. And they have masks of different different filtration levels. So you'll see ones that I think it's 95 is the rating. But the point is, you'll be able to see, you can ask which one of these are rated for mold if you go to a hardware store. You put the mask on, and when you spray, you'll be able to breathe without the impact of the mold spores getting inside your lungs. So what I encourage you to do is open up the house, fans, and then do this spraying of the vinegar. That's option one, very, very helpful. It's great for surface mold. That's one option. And then the second option I want to bring up to you is something called an ozonator. So you probably have heard, and if you haven't heard, it's dangerous to run immediately after a rainstorm. Doesn't matter if it's lightning or not. It's dangerous for you to run. And the reason is, you know that smell of fresh rain? It has that, it's very, I really like the smell, but it has like this fresh rain smell. You should know what I'm talking about. That smell is something called ozone, which is a particle that is a form of oxygen with an extra oxygen on it. I believe it's O3. You can correct me, those who are watching this, if you want to look it up. But this ozone is harmful for your lungs, because what happens is the extra oxygen is looking for a partner. So in the temporary form as O3, it has what's called, it's like a free radical. It'll attach and hurt parts of the body, much like, I'm sure you've heard of antioxidants and all that. They basically fight against free radicals. So in the moment, this is a free radical. Ozone, which is this O3, the smell you get from a rainstorm, is full of free radicals, which is why it's dangerous to breathe it in, because it actually will make you sick and long term not good at all. So what do? You buy an ozonator. So this is an example of an ozonator. Okay, and the brand on this one, I'm not necessarily promoting them, just letting you know the brand that I got, is called Ethereal. You can see it on there. And this one is designed in that it does a timer. So what you do is you close up your house when you're not going to be there. You close up the house as much as you can, close doors, whatever, and depending on the square footage that the ozonator can do, you run this in that space. And this, for example, has a timer. So it runs, let's say, an hour or two, and then when it's done, it'll auto shut off, and the O3 particles will slowly find something to pair up with, and when they pair up, they just turn into healthy, normal oxygen. And what the room, you'll come in, and let's say it was kind of a stuffy smelling room, primarily that's mold, FYI. When you come in, now you'll be like, this room smells fresh. It smells clean. Let me tell you, so you'll commonly know ozonators for getting rid of pet smells, smoke, but now you know it also is good for mold. But what it actually does is these O3, the extra molecule of oxygen, when it hits a mold spore, it attaches to it and it kills the mold spore. And the mold spore, I assume, just falls to the ground. But the point is, it's inert, doesn't harm you at that point. So it also does this with the other things that I discussed. But the benefit is your house, even if you have a stuffed up house and it's the middle of winter, or you live in the Caribbean like I do and you may not have great airflow and it's all humid, you now can get fresh air smell. And it's incredible. So if you have a closet, like behind me on the other side of this room is a closet. And that closet at times can get stuffy smelling, which is the mold. So you literally put the ozonator, you put it in there for a time when you're not home. You cannot do this when you're home. If you do it when you're home, you'll find that you feel it in your lungs. Trust me, I tried. I'm a rebel, and I'm like, I'll do it. I'll be fine. I'm John. I'm strong. And I immediately felt it. So don't do this at home. So buy an ozonator. If you have any sort of mold or stink or whatever, it's unbelievable. But it really is powerful. And then Anyway, you can put it in your closet, put it on for a timer, seal up that area, come back in an hour or two, whatever, and it'll smell weirdly fresh in a closet that's normally stuffy smelling. So I would encourage this in kitchens and cupboards. And if you live in any sort of area, I would say do it monthly, quarterly. It doesn't take much time. They do not cost a lot of money. I think this one, if you're in the U.S., is about 50, 60 U.S. And maybe a little bit, I think we got on a sale, but that's not the point. 50 or 60, maybe 70. But it lasts a very long time, and it's very small. This is less than a 12-inch cube, and it'll make our house smell great, and we can use it forever we want. But last but not least, you can also get not heat lamps, but these heated tubes that you can put inside cupboards, because most places that get mold are cupboards and clothes and closets and such. So you put those in there and they will stop the mold smell. So that's my thing about mold. You got questions? I would love to hear your feedback. So the most important thing is I have to say this is the strongest, best thing I've ever learned and experienced when it comes to this. But more importantly, make it something you do for your household, because even if you don't think there's mold there now, when you run one of these, you'll be like, wow, this is incredible how clean the air smells. It actually smells clean and crisp, and it doesn't smell once the ozone is neutralized. It neutralizes and again connects with other molecules. You'll be fine. Do not let pets in the house either. It'll harm them as well. So no pets, no family, no human. So take an afternoon, go shopping, come back 3 hours later, 3 to 4 hours later, should be fine. If it smells like the smell, and you'll know right away, hold your breath, open up the windows, and come back in a little later. It will neutralize over time. So thank you so much. I appreciate you. I hope you have an incredible day, and I want you to stay mold-free, healthy. I wish you all the best.